everybody. Welcome to our Sunday conversation, man. This Sunday, we caught up with Fort Knox Coach Wes Arnold, to talk about the challenges of coaching at Fort Knox and them not having a season. Coach Wes, man, how are you doing, Coach?
I'm good, man. Counting the days till the end of school and ready to finally get back to football, I think. So it's been a tough year, but I won't miss 2020 too much. So I'm ready to move forward.
So, Coach, before we get started real good, so you didn't have a season at all in 2020. What brought that about? Was it a decision for you and your staff? Was it a school decision, school board decision? What happened there?
Yeah, so I think the only two that didn't play this year were us and Fort Campbell. And, we're a little different. We're not run by the KDE. We're run by the Department of Defense and being military schools. And so we're one of about 170 schools around the world. They operate. Most of them are overseas, in Europe and Asia. There's only 4 of us in the United States. And they have a higher decision to make in that, they are the force protection for the United States and the world. We educate the children of military people, and they just were unsure with how the pandemic was going. They couldn't affect mission and force readiness, So if there was an outbreak at the school, then you'd outbreak amongst the soldiers. And if something happened, so I understood there's a lot more at play, and they have to make decisions for schools all over the world, not just a local school board decision. So it was a tough pill to swallow, but it was way above my pay grade. So
So now just kind of tell us, how did you break it to your team and how did your players take it?
Yeah, that was the hardest thing, especially my seniors. Unfortunately, like I said, we're a large organization, so I kind of had found out kind of the same way they did, where they kind of blasted out this email, and right after we had a morning practice that day, because we were hoping for good news, and so we had practice, and then they kind of broke it to everybody kind of at once. So I had to kind of digest it, and then we met the next day as a team, and I addressed them, and told them no matter what, I loved them, but it was hard, they took it hard. I mean, and like I said, my 8 seniors, that was it for them, to not have that finality to your career. I don't think many people in this world have had to deal with something like that in the football world, and I hated it for our kids. I hated it for the kids at Fort Campbell, because we were in the same boat. So that was really hard. One of the harder days I've had as a coach, because like I said, I hated it for my kids more than anything, but a little selfishly, I think we had a pretty good team. We've been on times, and I think we would have had a pretty good season. So that was disappointing too, but mainly the kids, that just hurt so bad. So.
Now, speaking of that, I was, like I said, doing some research on you. You started off your first year there only having 27 kids on roster. 2019, you brought out 47 kids, and you was looking to return about 15 key contributors to your team. So definitely he's looking forward to big years. So, man, how was that, man? How was that?
Yeah, I mean, that, like I said, I said a little selfishly, man, I don't know, I said we were going to rank a state championship run, Knox has a real good tradition, I mean, 3 state championships in the 80s and 90s, this place was rolling, and it's changed a little bit, but, we had been really building it the 2 years prior. We went from 27 to 47, and we were probably going to be around 50 kids again. And, at a 1A school with 170 boys, I think that's a pretty good ratio to have that amount out. And like I said, 15 kids, I think that sounds right. Yeah, like I said, it was disappointing. I mean, it was so heartbreaking. So, because I think we were right there, and, you have a good winning season that propels you for a long time, just to kind of break the funk we've been in as a program,
So now what did you do? Did you do anything during the season with the team or anything? Like what were you doing during the season?
Yeah, so they had us kind of offer, we were allowed to condition, lift weights. And we did that for a little bit, they asked us to do that to give the kids some type of outlet. So we did some conditioning for a couple weeks, but it's hard to kids aren't. It's hard to say like come out and do all this work with no chance to play. So we did that for a few weeks, and then we kind of just kind of said let's just kind of take a break from this, and it ended up working out because our school, we've been in school person 5 days a week since August. A couple times we did have to go online, so that kind of broke up. I think that made it a little easier on our kids not have to be in school every day and see everybody else getting to play. But so we did some conditioning, and then we kind of took a break from that. And then since about February, though, we've been back getting after it and looking pretty positive. We'll be back on the field this fall. So.
All right, Coach. I don't know if you all under the same umbrella as I said, KHSA you speak about. You have an opportunity to come back for that extra year. Do you have kids taking advantage of that opportunity?
Yeah. So again, like I said, we don't fall under the KDE or Fort Knox and Campbell. We're kind of like almost other countries within the state of Kentucky. So no, our kids don't have that option. They don't. State rule. Like I said, we fall under federal Department of Defense. They have their own system that they run these 160 plus schools with. No, our kids unfortunately don't get that opportunity. And in my opinion, our two schools probably the kids that deserve it the most because we season, But no, so it is what it is, and so yeah, we won't have anybody getting the do-over year, so to speak. So we'll just keep going with what we got,
Well, Coach, so now here we are, spring football. Did you guys have a spring football season, and what's your team looking like for next season, Coach?
Well, as devastating it was not to play, we actually do have some good key pieces back still, and some. That's the thing about Knox. We have kids. It's good and bad. We have kids come and go at random. This will be my 4th year, and I don't think I have one kid that's been here all 4 years. That's
wow.
We just don't have that. It's the military lifestyle. You might get a kid for a year, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, very rarely 4. And then, but like we had a kid move in from North Carolina, that LJ Taylor. He's a playmaker, so you kind of, you never know what you don't have, which is kind of, sometimes you're like, all right, that's a good surprise. But, and we have a quarterback, he'll be a junior. If we would have played this year, him as a sophomore, everybody in the state would know who he is. And even without having a season, his name's Jaden Thorpe. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. He looks the part, and just based off what he looks like, he's got a lot of camp invites for June. He's the real deal, and I think by the end of next fall, he's going to be big time, so it's a shame he missed out on his sophomore year because he would have been a huge playmaker for us. But yeah, we've had, we always have some kids move in, and so, we have another kid, Easton Colvin, the good size linebacker type kid, or D-line, O-line, D-line for us probably. But we don't do spring ball typically here because being a 1A school, most run track, play baseball, that kind of stuff, which I want them to do. As a small school, we got to share athletes, and we've won 2 state track meets, state track championships the last few years here. So we have those athletes, and when I took over, I wanted to make sure those guys were coming out, and they are now. So, but I'm all about them going out and doing that and play them all. You only get one high school career.
So, Coach, let me ask you a question now. You say you started off as assistant here at Fort Knox, moved away as assistant at Central Hardin, came back in 2018. Coach, what made you come back? And is this the job you've always wanted to be at?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a head coach. When I was here first as an assistant, I learned a lot from guys I worked for and under, and then had the opportunity to go to Central Hardin to coach under Tim Mattingly, who's one of the best in the state, I feel. He's taken Central Hardin to multiple region championships, and in 6A, that's no easy task. And I had a great opportunity to learn from him and other great assistants, and I learned how to be a part of a winner, that was big. And I learned what it took to win. And in 2018, my former principal became the superintendent here, and she asked me if I'd want to come back and take over the program. And I kind of felt it was a good opportunity because we were transitioning back to 1A, which is always a good thing. And the administration that was coming in between my superintendent at the time and my principal now, Lonnie Gilmore, and our assistant principal, Luis Dominguez, like they are very pro athletes and athletics. And as we all know, coaching, you're only as good as your administration. And I have great administration. They've really supported me in getting this. We've gotten a new locker room, a new weight room, and all new helmets. I mean, great uniforms now. So they've been a big key to that. So I looked at this as a good opportunity to kind of come back. I knew the athletic talent was here from, like I said, we win state track championships. And I felt I had a good mix of when you come from out in the state into here, because it's so different with the moving of the population and the Department of Defense rules, and there's just a lot to learn. And so it's kind of hard for outsiders to come in. And I had a perfect mix being here and then going out in the state. And then, so I feel like I have, like we call it, inside the gate. I feel like I knew I was getting into inside the gate, and combining that with what I knew from outside the gate. I think it's been a good fit ever since. So.
All right, Coach. Now, looking at your schedule for next season, Coach, man, what are you expecting out of your team going into the season?
Yeah, the unknown here is always something that keeps me up all summer because, even summer here is a challenge because the military has what they call block leave, where they get 45 days off, and nobody on this team is from the state of Kentucky, or maybe one out of maybe one or two kids, So when they go on vacation, they're not going to Holiday World or or Gatlinburg. They're going home to Texas or Florida or California. And that's just something you have to accept here. I know a lot of coaches, I talk to other coaches, they're like, I tell my team only the dead period. That's when you can go on vacation. And I don't have that choice, and I'm not going to tell a soldier who's been maybe deployed or been working all year that, you can't take your family or I need your son here. So we really don't get this team together until now. We're working out and practicing all summer, but we don't get our whole group together, I'd say, until the last 2 weeks of July.
Wow.
And then because of the Army, I have kids, I'll have starters that I don't even know I have show up the week of school when it starts, like, hey, I just moved from Oklahoma. And I'm like, all right, let's get you in a uniform, and get you out to practice. So I'm sure there's kids that'll start for us next year. I don't know who they are, and I won't know them until late this summer, maybe early August sometimes, So I think me and Coach Riders at Fort Campbell, I think we have two of the tougher jobs, maybe in that regard, because we just don't know who we're going to have or what we're going to have back. But I feel good about our team because I feel our schedule we can compete in. We play 10-game schedule, and 9 of them are 1A schools, and the 2A school we play is Fort Campbell, and so they're the same type of school as we are. So, I think our school schedule allows us to compete with teams similar in size, but man, we have just so much ground to always make up, and a lot of kids we get are new to football. So it's not just trying to teach them a playbook. I'm teaching them how to get in a stance, and this is what a guard is, and stuff like that. So it's a unique challenge. So.
Coach, man, that's got to be difficult, man. Bless your heart, taking all this task here, man. That lets you know how much you love the game and how much you care about giving back to kids, Coach. I ain't gonna lie, I don't think I can take care of it. That'd be tough, bro.
And I ain't gonna lie, I appreciate you for sharing this, Coach, because I think, a lot of people look and think like, man, Fort Knox, they had the military kids, lots of talent, da. But we had no idea the challenges involved with coaching at a DOD school.
Yeah, I mean, I always take a lot of pride, teams that we play a lot of the same teams routinely. And it's always, I take pride in a lot of coaches like, man, what you do in such a short amount of time, we get out. I feel like we get out there and we look like a football team on the first game of the season, even though it might be condensed or, you know, very limited in what we can do. And I think I have great assistant coaches that you know, they all work in the building with me. And so they understand the challenges. But yeah, a lot of people outside looking in don't quite understand the dynamics we deal with. And some people have come in here to try to coach, and it's been a shock to their system because it's so, you know, you have to basically be so flexible and keep things not too complex, because you have to just adjust to who you have. And in 2019, two of our best players, they came out, I think, the second week of school. They moved in from Kansas, you know, and I didn't know I was going to have them until the first or second week of school, you know, and so the dynamics are challenging. And but I've been real, you know, to deal with that. We've won 7 games in 2 years, which is the best 2-year stretch in 20 years, you know. So I think, you know, I think we're getting them in the right direction. You just have to know what you're doing and kind of know what to expect out of this situation. So, you know, we in Hardin County, we have, including us, 5 high schools. So when the people come in with the military, they have a lot of options. They can go to North, who's been you know, Elizabethtown's in the state finals. John Arden's been unreal. You know, Central's been good. So, you know, that's kind of why, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, when this place was rolling, everybody had to live on post. That was the rule, you know, and it's not like that. You can choose to live where you want. And so a lot of people do choose to live in a much bigger home outside the post and stuff like that. So, you know, a lot of people ask me, well, what happened to that place? Well, I'm like, well, the dynamics changed. And, you know, when everybody was forced to live on post, you got all there. I mean, to me, I think it's, you know, we got all this good football in this county, and a lot of those are from military families, you know. So, you know, so if they were all forced to go to one school, you know, like it was back in the day, it'd probably be like that. But it's not, and I'm okay with that. The ones I got is the ones I'll take. And yeah, you know, it's a challenge, but I love it. So, and this is where I want to be. So,
and so do you put your offense and defense in schemes into play, and then teach them as they come in, as they learn? Do you try to adjust? If you pick up a kid that's a stud running back, do you go to more of a running set? Do you put more? I mean, how do you just make it just so easy?
Yeah, you have to be kind of tailored. I mean, you try to figure out what your you know, who you have coming back, you know, and then you try to tailor it around that. And then you kind of try to fit these puzzle pieces in as they come in. And, you know, you might have a kid that takes all the snaps of running back this summer, and then a kid's going to transfer in, I don't know, from Georgia, who's the real deal. And we're like, all right, this is our guy. You know, and so we definitely got to adjust on the fly. You know, we try to keep things very basic. You know, we try to keep, you know, our play calling simple. We use wristbands because, you know, I make like each position has their own wristband, so I can call a play and it tells them that their position, what they're doing on that play, because they might only had the 10 practices before they're out there playing, you know. So and then you're trying to fit in special teams and technique and fundamentals and you know, it's a challenge. Like I said, I think if people knew what I did, I think a lot of people do know, and they're like, you're nuts. I couldn't do that.
I was just finna say, Coach, you're just a glutton for punishment, aren't you?
Well,
you left Hardin County to put up with this, Coach. You just gotta love it, man.
I do love it. And, you know, I grew up a military kid. So I kind of grew up like these kids. My dad worked for the DOD, and I moved around, and, you know, I graduated from a DOD school in Germany, you know, playing over in other DOD schools. So I kind of understand it. It's not easy. It is not easy. But the thing that makes it worth it, though, is we have I know everybody says it, but we have just great kids. Our kids are awesome. Obviously, coming from a military home, you know, they have a different home life. You know, everybody has a home to go home to, and, you know, everybody has a check coming in, and, you know, so easy. I mean, they're great. I mean, they're just great kids, and, you know, they're very respectful, and they try hard, and they want to learn. So that makes it all worth it. And I think these kids understand the challenges that our coaching staff faces, and that we're willing to commit to them and give it our best. And they try to give their best back to us. That's all we can ask, you know.
Coach Arnold, man, I tell you what, you make somebody want to come play for you. See, upbeat, you don't like, hey, just I take it as it comes. I have nothing but respect to you, man. You and your staff and those young men, your coach. My head's off to you.
I appreciate that, man. It's like I said, I think, and if we can ever get over the hump and start winning, then I think, things will get easier here.
Man, great interview with Coach Arnold. I'll tell you what, you gave us a real in-depth look at what goes on in Fort Knox and Fort Campbell and all the obstacles they have to face coaching football, having new kids move in and out during the seasons, things of that nature, Coach. So my head off to Coach Arnold, the Fort Campbell's coach for doing what they're doing. They truly are about these kids and about teaching the game of football, Coach.
And man, I look forward to seeing the Eagles come in here taking on Sarah in week 2. I think that's going to be big. Man, one thing though, and I thought about it, was did those seniors have a chance to transfer? And we talked to him and he said that the only way they could have left was they'd had to break their lease. But because their parents from the military, they were on government, housing. So it was just a whole big mess, man. I wish those guys the best of luck. Sorry that their season ended like it did. But I also look forward to seeing the Eagles in week 2 coming to town, coming to Big Things County, taking on Coach Pennington and Marseille Spartans, baby. Let's go Spartans. But look forward to that one, Coach.
I apologize, Coach Chad Pennington, for him. He's not a fan of ours. But we would definitely be in the house, Spartans. Mark us down, put us down. We'll be there week 2 to see the Spartans take on the Eagles. Coach, should be a good game. All right, man. As always, you picking your Big Thing swag from me, a Coach Truck. Make sure you follow us at Big Things and Pearls on Instagram, Big Things Kentucky on Instagram, and all our social medias. As always, make sure you be a living donor. I'm Coach Bew, my main man, Coach TB on the side of Coach Truck.
Hey.